Let me tell you, the best game ever, Super Mario Bros. 3. Now everyone says sequels are not as good as the original. I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. Sometimes it is the case if you've ever seen Ghostbusters 2, but not always.
I remember when Mario 3 came out, I remember getting it after school on a Friday, and I remember the particular kind of headache I had when I went to sleep, because I did nothing between getting that game and going to sleep, but play the hell out of that game.
The hardest part of the game was finding it. Like, I couldn't find it. There was Mario Madness. If you remember the advertisements for it, the crowd just shouting, Mario! In the commercials and stuff. It was great. I couldn't wait for it.
The whole Super Mario Bros. Series, you think it'd be pretty simple. We'd go Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3. It's not that simple. It's actually pretty complicated. For Super Mario Bros. 2, well, who knows what the hell is going on there. They just took some crappy Japanese game, put a little Mario character in it, called it Super Mario Bros. 2, shipped it out the door.
Mario 2 in the US is different because they thought the original Mario 2 would be too hard for American gamers.
But they released the actual Mario 2 a few years later in America on Super Nintendo as part of the Super Mario All-Stars package, and it was called Super Mario The Lost Levels. And they were right, it was too hard for America. That game is impossible, it's so difficult.
But Super Mario Bros. 3, that's where the train got back on the tracks. Came out in Japan, huge hit. A year or two later, came out in the US. Fantastic, the ultimate culmination of everything Mario related.
Super Mario 3 sold over 17 million copies worldwide, and I'm proud to be one of them.
I'm trying to remember the actual plot of the game. And I think Mario and his brother Luigi, they have to rescue the princess from not King Koopa or Bowser as he's sometimes known, but his kids, the Koopa kids.
Which means he actually had relations with someone to create those children. I don't know. Was it Princess Peach? I don't know. Let's hope not.
Yeah, I don't know where Bowser's kids came from. If Bowser had a mate, I don't know why he kept trying to steal the princess.
So Super Mario 3 kind of has the standard Mario fare. There's coins, you got the mushrooms. You know, it was the same magic, you know, captured in the first game, remixed with all this other kooky stuff.
The really exciting new addition was the leaf, which logically turns Mario into a raccoon, which, again, logically, lets him fly.
So besides the raccoon suit, there's a whole bunch of other outfits that Mario can wear. He can wear the frog suit that lets him swim and, you know, go upstream against the current. There's a big boot he can hop into and stomp on people.
Oh man, do I remember. This is the best part of the game, is the level with the shoe. The shoe let you walk on anything you couldn't usually walk on. You could bounce pretty high. The shoe was a blast. I'll never forget it.
There's a Hammer Brothers suit where you get a big hammer, you can smash everybody.
Favorite world in the game was the giant world where everything was huge. I've never saw anything like that before. When I played that game, that was, I think, the moment that just blew my socks off.
Oh, my favorite level, World 4, the giant one with the giant Goombas and the giant blocks. Genius, I know.
So I did have a favorite level for the game. It was the floating battleship. It was so amazing.
There's one level which is just this ring of metal blocks, and you sort of fly around it. You know, it was amazing. You know, it was just a joy to play.
Mario 3 also had a lot of really interesting mini games. There was, you know, they had a slot machine kind of thing where you'd win all kinds of prizes, whether it was an extra life or a mushroom or a leaf. There was also a memory game that allowed you to collect off of this board of cards.
I cheated at that. I had the strategy guide. Nintendo Power gave me a strategy guide for renewing my subscription, and whenever that card puzzle game came up, I just opened the book and cheated.
I also cheated on that, like everyone else in the universe.
But one of the more interesting things was there was this one section of the game where if I was Mario and I conquered a level, Luigi could then go on that world, if we were playing 2 players, and challenge me to a deathmatch. Yes, that's right, kids. Deathmatch was not invented by Doom. The deathmatch, the real his-out, went down between Mario and Luigi.
Mario 3 is the best game ever because it's just such a leap from the stuff before it. Like, if you look at Mario 2 and 1, they're almost primitive compared to Mario 3.
One of the most frustrating things about the side-scrolling, completely linear, classic platformers, Super Mario Bros. Included, was that if you missed something, well, you missed it. Once the screen moves past something, it doesn't exist anymore. But in this one, you could move backwards and forwards, and you could also go up and down. You know, instead of just being a pawn, it became a rook, because it moved in 4 directions.
Another cool thing about Super Mario 3 was that it provided you with a map, so you could finally tell where the hell you were going.
You run through the levels just like normal, but between levels, you run this map, and you could choose where you wanted to go next. You didn't have to go from level 1A to level 2A. You'd go to the map. You get to choose where you want to go next.
When you had the map out in front of you, you could go to different areas, and you sometimes it'd be like a really hard level that you could circumvent, and sometimes you could go out of your way to get something really cool. It's like playing a board game while also playing a platform. It's actually really interesting.
And I guess like in a Grand Theft Auto world of like open games, that's not that exciting, but at the time it's a really novel idea.
15 Japanese programmers died trying to add this feature to the game. It took over 2 years to do.
It was a really good idea because you put all this stuff into context. It wasn't just like you kept going in a straight line. You know, it gave it depth. And that's the hardest thing to do in a video game, to give the player a feeling of exploration and freedom. And, you know, Miyamoto does that really well. He does it better than, possibly better than anybody.
Miyamoto is the creator of the original Super Mario, and he did this one too. And he also did Donkey Kong, and he also did Zelda. I mean, he's a total and complete legend.
From Mario 2 to Mario 3 is a bigger step than Mario 3 to Mario World, which is on an entirely new hardware platform, you know?
In Super Mario World, you have a whole map, and it's all integrated. It's one large map, and you can move around on it and go back to places. And then Super Mario Bros. 64 is the first true 3D game. It's all about interaction with the space, and a lot of that comes directly from Super Mario Bros. 3.
The funny thing is there was so much hype around Mario 3 when it was about to come out. They actually integrated it into a movie. It was the first, I think, first time that you really saw guerrilla marketing when it came to video games.
The Wizard is a movie starring a young Fred Savage who plays a boy who has a gift. And that gift is playing Nintendo games.
The game he plays at the end of the movie for the big championship is Super Mario Bros. 3. And that was before the game even came out, so everyone got a nice sneak peek at it. Generated a lot of excitement in the Nintendo set, let me tell you that.
I went to see that movie opening day just to see Super Mario 3 for the brief segment that it was in there.
I don't remember if I knew Mario 3 was going to be featured in it, but I remember that was all I was thinking about as I walked out of the theater, was Mario 3, Mario 3, Mario 3. Because, I mean, it was an exciting thing, and, I mean, it turned out to, like, live up to that hype.
Super Mario Bros. 3 is like the last great game on the Nintendo. This was the last game, basically. This was like the final curtain.
It really was a moment in time where things were about to change. You had the NES system, it was maxed out.
You know, they went as far as they could with that game in the technical limitations that they had. And from that, it gave people a lot to think about when they started developing games for the 16-bit era, both on the Super Nintendo and on the Genesis, and on the TurboGrafx 16, and then later the Neo Geo. But in terms of classic platformers, Super Mario Bros. 3 is pretty much the apex.
And if you're interested in playing Super Mario 3, you don't need to go into your grandmother's old attic to dust off your cousin's hardware. They've just re-released it for Game Boy, which is fantastic.
It's still really fun. It's still like, you're not like, oh, I remember this part. Like, it's not like nostalgic fun. It's still legitimately fun to play through the whole game.
The lesson of Mario 3 is, you know, if you're a lowly plumber, play your cards right, you'll suddenly be riding around in a big raccoon outfit, searching for magic wands, and then in the end, you get the princess, as always.
Mario Brothers taught me probably that like a good game only comes out every 10 years, and that was that one, and 2000 at Grand Theft Auto. I think those are my two favorite games of all time.
So ingrained in my brain, just every aspect of that game. It's really the best game ever. It really is.